Hey guys, welcome back. Michi here. In my last video, I was doing two looks using Natasha Denona's Lila palette. And I teased how this week we're going to do a look using Tom Ford's Honeymoon. And in my last video, I talked about, like the Lila palette has pink, purple, mauve, and taupe tones. And when I look at Honeymoon, it just seems kind of similar. It reminds me of those colors. Now I've gotten a chance to play with them, put them on. I would say there are a lot more brown tones. Not so much in the pink, but there's certainly some brown in this kind of deep plum color, and certainly this bronze and even the champagne. So while there is some purple and pink here, overall the looks you create has more brown to them. And before I go into the tutorial, let's do some swatches really quickly. What I also found out through working with the shadows is that they have very little fallout. I was quite surprised by that. I know these are wet dry formulas, so probably has something to do with that. And just now, having swatched them just on my finger, you can see around in the pan, there's just not that much fallout or powder being kicked up. So I was pleasantly surprised. This is the pink shade. And this is the bronze color. This is the champagne highlight. And this is the plum shade. They're all easy to work with, but when I first dipped my brush in, I was just expecting them to be a bit more buttery, and really I couldn't tell if I got enough color onto the brush. But the moment I put the brush on my lid and started working, I was like, okay, I've got enough product on there. So they're not like Pat McGrath or Natasha Denona shadows where, you know, that butteriness is just very obvious. But these are very pigmented and they are easy to work with very little fallout. I will see you after the tutorial. We're gonna start by putting this pink shade onto the lid. And we're going to diffuse this a bit with a crease brush. Then we're going to add this bronze color into the crease. We're going to diffuse the bronze color a little bit more with this jumbo blender brush. And then with the mini booster, we're going to add this dark plum color to the outer corners and right along the upper lash line. Then I'm going to add some of this champagne color as a lid topper right in the center and working the color to the inner corners. And I'm just kind of stamping this on since I'm not really sure how well this particular brush is going to apply the color. And I figure before I just default to using my pinky, we'll just try this. Well, I would say the color's going on nicely, but this brush is kind of prickly here, so if I hadn't already used my soft shader on that pink color, I would have used that instead. I'm gonna try my pinky. You always get a bit more when you use your finger. Okay, I'm gonna put on foundation, concealer, and we'll come back for the finishing touches. We're gonna add this bronze color to the lower lash line. And using the flat definer, we're actually gonna add some tight line as well. And we're going to add some of the champagne color to the inner corners. As well as the brow bone. I'm actually just going to add some here as well. Just for fun. So for blushes, I have today the Jouer Bouquet d'Amour. I'm going to very lightly tap it into Seduce Me and get rid of the excess on a tissue paper and just apply very lightly onto the cheeks. I think that looks nice. And we're going to buff out that color. Then we're going to go into Know Me. And Know Me, I don't think you can see very well from the camera, but it actually has some sparkle in it. Whereas Seduce Me, the blush I was putting on just before, is like a matte blush. And then I'm going to use the soft cheek here because I want this to be buffed out some more. And for lipstick, because we have a fairly strong look today, I'm going to go with a nude color. This is a Korean brand called BbiA. And the color is a nude pink brown tone. So we're going to apply that. And taking a closer look, I actually want to add this dark plum color as kind of an eyeliner on the upper lash line here. I want to add this color instead of a black eyeliner to do something different. So I was so focused on the look, lips, and everything else that I missed this guy here, this angry breakout. I'm going to take my stick concealer and just do a very concentrated conceal right on the spot to hide that redness. And this stick concealer I've talked about before in my concealer video. This is Shisedo's Maquillage, which they sell in Japan. but you can order this online through Amazon and other online retailers. I will share a link below. Okay, so with that concealed, let's set it. And since I'm spot concealing that, I don't need to go in with a fluffy brush or anything, just something small and concise that I could pat that powder on. And that motion of patting it on is going to help it stay in place for longer. Last step here, we're going to add some highlight. So using the mini cheek again, we're actually going to go in with Hourglass's Ambient palette, and they have this strobe powder here. So we're adding it just onto the high points. Nose. And then we're going to go in with a fan brush to add some bronzer. I already added cream contour underneath, but I always like to go back in with a powder product just to give it some more contrast. All right, this is the finished look. Now that I've gotten a chance to use a Tom Ford quad, I can certainly see why people enjoy them so much. Initially, when I chose Honeymoon, or just looking at any of the quads, I thought, well, there are 4 shades, and how many different looks can you get out of it? If you want a plain, if you want to do different looks, wouldn't you just go for, you know, a palette with 15 shades, 20 shades, and whatnot, or even 8 shades? But it's a different experience. You could use just 2 shades, you know, across or up or down. You can use 3 out of the 4 and get different looks, different variances every time. If you use all 4, you might get something like this that's smoky with a purple and brown toned or a purple and brown theme to it. And so there is flexibility in just one quad itself, even with just 4 shades. And this is easy to travel with. You know, some people don't want to bring a big palette with them, even if that palette with 15 shades is easy to carry, easy to pack away. This is certainly a lot smaller. You could also throw it into your purse. I could see some people who have a simple makeup routine and they're just gonna throw this in their bag, and maybe they'll add some throughout the day, right? Just pat your finger on the shadow or this one here and add some to the lid, and there you go. You've got some color, you've got some texture, and it's gonna be beautiful. If I had to pick a couple of things about the quad or the formula that are standouts, I'm gonna have to say the formula has very little fallout, and that's very impressive. The color story is well put together, so no matter what shades, again, you decide to use, you're gonna get a very flattering look. On top of that, the finish of the shadows are very beautiful, so you just don't have to think that hard, and it's going to come out great. It's going to be interesting. There'll be some definition, some texture to it, which is something I always look for when creating looks. If you have Tom Ford quads or you enjoy Tom Ford's makeup, I'd like to know what you would recommend from his cosmetics line. I hope you are having yet another good week. Thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video.